The Mercury looking for some Sunday cleansing in downtown Phoenix, trying to clean off the stain of back-to-back home losses to Dallas. Today, taking on a wounded New York Liberty team. It's the WNBA on Bally Sports. Hi, everyone. Tom Leander along with the Hall of Famer Ann Myers-Drysdale. Skylar Diggins-Smith has a huge load for the Phoenix Mercury, obviously with Diana Taurasi out, but also this Mercury team failing to hit shots lately.
Yeah, she only had 11 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists in the last game against Dallas. She has struggled from three-point range. She knocks that one down, but her big thing is getting to the free throw line, and she struggled in that last game against Dallas. So I expect her to really pick things up as far as not only scoring, getting to the basket, but also looking to get the outside shot going, but getting the inside game going too, which is very important for the Mercury.
Yeah, she is capable of a 25 to 30-point game every single time out. So this New York team without 3 key players, but they still have Benijah Laney. She is one of the most talented and versatile players this league has right now.
Yeah, she was most improved player last year in Indiana when she'd come over from Connecticut, and now she's in New York. And boy, the last 8 games, they played 9. The last 8 games, she's had 20-plus points. Her last game, 30 points. So she is going to knock it down from three-point range. She's going to take a lot of shots, and which gives her the opportunity to take shots. Make a lot of shots, I should say. But in saying that, when you have somebody like Ionescu who gets her the ball, is number 2 in assists in the league, but is out today, so look for Laney to get more not only shots herself, but also to distribute.
Yeah. Ionescu out with ankle tendonitis. She injured that ankle last year, her rookie season. One of the phenomenal players in this league, but she will not play this afternoon, so maybe Brittany Griner and the Mercury can capitalize. We have the Mercury and the Liberty coming up next on Bally Sports.
Phoenix Mercury basketball is brought to you by Michelob Ultra. Enjoy like a pro. First Bank. First Bank is proud to be the official bank of the Phoenix Mercury. First Bank, banking for good, member FDIC. And by Gila River Hotels and Casinos, Arizona's official sports headquarters.
Liberty and Mercury from downtown Phoenix this afternoon. New York coming in 5-4 on the season. Phoenix deadlocked at 5-5. Rebecca Allen and Sammy Whitcomb in the backcourt with Laney, Onion Wade, who's a very talented rookie out of UCLA, and Kylie Shook. A little extra size in there for New York against Brittany Griner and that Phoenix Mercury starting lineup, along with Bree Turner, Megan Walker, the former member of the Liberty, along with Kia Nurse, who played 4 years there, and Skylar Diggins-Smith, the starting point guard for head coach Sandy Brondello, who was not happy at all after that loss Friday to the Dallas Wings. Banner Health update brought to you by Banner Health, official healthcare partner of the Phoenix Mercury. Still without Diana Taurasi, the fractured sternum. Hoping to have her back maybe in the next 10 days or so for the next homestand. Bria Hartley out rehabbing that knee. And then for the Liberty, Ionescu with that ankle tendonitis, she is out, along with Natasha Howard, who they signed this season, one of the top defenders in the league. Willoughby is out all season, and Kia Stokes. This is a big subtraction from their lineup. Kia Stokes is playing right now in Hungary in the Euro basketball tournament. So, Annie, as you look at those missing pieces for New York, Stokes is a big part of that.
Well, and she is, but I think Natasha Howard is the one. I mean, Natasha Howard's been a defensive player of the year, a champion in Seattle, and when she went down after that second game, that's when the Liberty really struggled as far as getting the ball inside and winning games. And so Natasha Howard is huge. Certainly Stokes will come back healthy, but it's like Jonquel Jones. When you've got 2 teams like New York and Connecticut that have been playing well and missing 2 key players like that, yeah, it's tough.
All right, your keys to the game for New York: sharing the ball, jack it up. They're a great three-point shooting team, and Phoenix crashed those boards.
The Liberty are number 1 in three-point shooting. Certainly they're going to miss Ionescu tonight. But Phoenix, I think that they've got to take advantage of their rebounding, because this is a New York team that is not big inside. We talked about their outside shooting. They're a perimeter team. They can get inside on the drives, but rebounding is going to be a key, not only as far as putbacks, but getting out and running, pushing the ball, getting easy baskets.
So the Mercury Friday night dominated by Dallas, lost by 18 points. They missed 17 of their 23-point attempts, scored a season-low 59 points. And you talk about getting easy shots, rebounding and running. I mean, that is certainly the key. But for Sandy Brondello and even Kia Nurse mentioned too, they didn't feel like the team brought the effort. And with Sandy Brondello calling it an embarrassing effort, that's what she said in the home opener as well.
We said before that game, energy was going to be a key for the Phoenix Mercury. Well, they really didn't have it. And Dallas, who is the #1 team in rebounding, they out-rebounded the Mercury by 11. And now you're playing a team, yes, the New York Liberty is not a huge rebounding team. As a matter of fact, they're 11th in the league. But where they get their boards from is their guards. So it's going to be important for the Mercury to block out on the guards. And Sammy Whitcomb, who also came from Seattle, where Natasha Howard was winning championships with the Storm, has been tremendous for the New York Liberty this year.
It'll be Shook and Griner to jump center this afternoon. A matinee on a Sunday and just a couple hours away from the Phoenix Suns. Also a resident here at Phoenix Suns Arena, going for the sweep in Denver. Good defense there by Skylar Diggins-Smith, who had 3 blocks in the game Friday against her former team, the Wings. On the move is Kia Nurse. Drop step. And off the glass, and back comes the Liberty.
I like the play that Nurse had, though, getting inside. Even though there was contact, she couldn't finish, but it was a good move inside.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, too, without Ionescu. Whitcomb directing the offense right now. Rebecca Allen out there as well. Baseline jumper by Laney was off the mark, and now it's Allen from deep. And the rebound to Bree Turner. Now that's another critical player here this afternoon. Bree Turner very quiet in the last game against Dallas. Forcing the issue and drawing the contact is Diggins-Smith.
Well, you saw how the Liberty got a second opportunity because of the offensive rebounding. And again, that's where the Mercury really have to step up their game and block the Liberty out. Once they get the rebound, you saw Skylar Diggins, she got it at half court, and boom, she was attacking the basket.
And the foul on Onyen Wade, the rookie out of UCLA, taken 6th overall. And at the line steps Skylar Diggins-Smith, having another solid season in her second year here with the Mercury, averaging 19 points. That is 7th best right now in the league.
I wouldn't be surprised if she gets to the line about 12, 13 times.
Like we said in the open, too, the Mercury could really use 25 to 30 points a night from Skylar Diggins-Smith in the absence of not only Taurasi, but we've talked about Bria Hartley, a player who had 3 20-point games last season. Shook fires in a 3 from deep.
Oh, you just cannot have an uncontested shooter. We talked about the three-point shooting of this team, and Shook is 33%. That's her 6th three-pointer she's made.
And Annie, over the last 4 games, she was 5 of 27. 5 of 27 shooting.
Yeah, they've got 9 players that shoot 37% plus from three-point range.
Griner powers in on Shook. After the 3-point hit, back comes Brittany.
The Mercury recognizing that Griner can take advantage in this game and get inside.
On the curl, it's Laney. She is an exceptional story, too. Her rise to prominence in the WNBA, we will tell that story, has been incredibly impressive. Spin move, ball jarred loose by Whitcomb, goes out of bounds off of Griner. So good help defense from Whitcomb. Shook was there.
Yeah, Whitcomb is in her 5th season. She's 32 years old. She's out of Ventura, California. And she went to Washington, was a great shooter at the University of Washington, but didn't she went undrafted in 2010 and has been playing over in Europe, especially Australia, became an Australian citizen.
Allen, baseline 3, straight and sweet for Rebecca Allen.
And speaking of Australian citizens, Rebecca Allen has done a great job for the New York Liberty since she's been with them since 2015.
Probing was Diggins-Smith, finding a cutting Bree Turner, big bucket for Bree. Phoenix needs her offense.
And a big difference in this game, certainly than the last 2 Dallas games for the Mercury, is that they're scoring quickly.
And Annie, Bree Turner has scored in double figures 3 times this season. The Mercury have won all 3 games. Here she is with the rebound, leading the fast break, on the spin, nearly went coast to coast. Instead, the handoff to Griner.
Well, we talked tremendously about it in that game against Dallas, the last game, that Brianna Turner has to be aggressive on the offensive end looking for her shots.
Whitcomb, contact with Griner, and that's a big early foul on Brittany Griner. A savvy move by Sammy Whitcomb. And you talked about what a great shooter she is. Yeah, still a great shooter. She showed it in college at Washington, and now 48% from far away by Whitcomb. Meanwhile, the other way, it was Turner setting it up for Brittany. And as we say, what a great shooter Whitcomb is, she misses a free throw. What's interesting with Whitcomb, she does most of her damage from outside, as you might imagine, being such a good three-point shooter. Those were only free throws number 4 and number 5 on the season. She doesn't get to the line much. But without Ionescu, she's going to turn into a different player. The pick and the pair for Rebecca Allen.
Now, the one thing for the Mercury, they cannot afford to turn the ball over. This is not a very strong defensive Liberty team. They don't come up with a lot of steals, as the Mercury doesn't either. But you see Diggins wanting to get the shot. It's only the second team foul for the Liberty.
And that comes off a costly Mercury turnover. It can be demoralizing, too. Those live turnovers that result in a wide-open layup by Rebecca Allen. And that's why I think I saw such a frustrated Sandy Brondello after the loss Friday. Maybe the most frustrated I've seen her since she took over as coach of this team, saying, you know, everybody needs to look in the mirror, players, staff, because it did not look like this Mercury team wanted to win that game.
Diggins Smith getting to the free throw line. There's a steal, a very telegraphed steal at half court, and an easy one for Allen. But, you know, you go back to what Sandy Brondello was saying, and everybody saw it, and certainly the frustration by her, I think, as a wonderful leader that she is, and as a player that she's been, and is now going to be the Olympic coach for the Opals. She knows what it takes to be out there, and so what she was seeing was not something that she enjoyed at all, and I'm sure that the players, they knew it, but they needed to hear it from their leader also.
In and out on the three-point attempt by Allen from the opposite baseline. Good look for three from Kia Nurse.
Yeah, Kia Nurse had such a good year with New York last year, stepping in for Sabrina Ionescu, and I'm expecting her to have a pretty good game against her former team.
Laney Pops, averaging 21 points per game, 5th best in the league.
She's coming off that big game where she had 30 points.
Yeah, Kia Nurse was actually the leading scorer for New York last season when she averaged 12 points per game. They only won 2, and there's another turnover by Phoenix. Here comes New York, and they give it right back. Allen was looking for Whitcomb and was off the mark with that pass.
What a break for the Mercury, because the Liberty, again, watching this game right now, the Liberty have the energy. This is the first of a 4-game road trip, and they've been off for a week, so they've got a lot of energy. But right now, they're showing it more so than the Mercury.
And that's what's worrisome, too, with Ionescu and that ankle injury. We're going to get an offensive foul on Griner. That's going to be her second personal foul.
You know, this is focus. I mean, you cannot make these kind of mistakes if you're the Phoenix Mercury and want to get to the playoffs.
Look, going back to Ionescu, this team, the New York Liberty, have had 8 days off. So for her to actually, they called it load management in a sense for that ankle tendonitis, to be off for 8 games and then to miss the first game on this road trip has to be very concerning for New York.
Well, she's had a triple-double this year, another double-double, and had a game-winning shot in their very first game.
Off balance was Whitcomb. Trying to track it down was Rashonda Gray. There are going to be more minutes out there for the 5th-year player out of Cal, Rashonda Gray, in the absence of Ionescu. You just caught a shot of her. Sabrina on the sidelines. Contact initiated by Nurse as Rebecca Allen went flying against the backstop. A very aggressive move by Kia against her former team, and she's heading to the stripe.
Well, Dallas did this so much in the last 2 games against the Mercury. They had players that had the ability to go one-on-one, and Nurse has that ability. So to get her inside and try to score and get herself to the free throw line is going to be important for the Mercury.
And she probably wasn't too unhappy, though I'm sure it's a great city in New York and a good organization, but they went 2-20 last year, and here comes Kia moving over to Phoenix to play with Diana Taurasi, Skylar Diggins-Smith, Brittany Griner. Of course, the injury to Taurasi has changed things quite drastically for Phoenix in the early going, but still, Bria Hartley were to come back. This is a deep Phoenix roster. Whitcomb on the prowl, sets up Odom, and there is Nay Odom inside. A beautiful feed by Whitcomb.
Yeah, Odom at 6'2", and out of Duke.
Yeah, they'll have to go deeper on the bench with all these missing Liberty players.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what Sandy Brondello does with her bench also.
Griner wants it on the low block. They go weak side. Megan Walker cut off. Skylar with the floater. As the shot clock went off, tipping there was Bree Turner, giving it a second and third effort. Laney rams into Nurse. No call. And Onyenwede lets it fly. On the run out, Kia Nurse dropped it back for Turner. Phoenix still has it, getting a little messy out there, a little physical, bodies hitting the floor. Not a work of art as we get our first timeout here with 4:20 to go in the first quarter, and the Liberty on top by 1. In celebration of Pride Month, presented by Deloitte, the WNBA will collaborate with GLSEN and Fanatics on an exclusive line of Pride apparel, including Fanatics-branded WNBA t-shirts. All WNBA proceeds will benefit GLSEN, and fans can purchase the shirts at WNBA.com. Tom Leander, the Hall of Famer Ann Myers-Drysdale, on a Sunday afternoon from Phoenix Suns Arena. Mercury need a win before heading out against LA. It's going to be interesting. 3 games against LA. Their next 3, Wednesday and Friday in Los Angeles against the Sparks. Then they will have 8 days off like the Liberty just had. And then they will host the Sparks on the 26th. And Andy, we're kind of earmarking that date, June 26th. Possibly Diana Taurasi could return to this Phoenix Mercury lineup. So you take a look at Bree Turner, who has been very active here in the first quarter. A much different Bree than we saw on Friday. Gia Vaughn has checked in, another former member of the Liberty. There's 3 of them on this Phoenix team. You got Megan Walker and Kia Nurse. Step back. Kia straight, but a little short.
Yeah, this is the first time I recall the Mercury having this lineup. Usually it's either Brittany Griner and Kia Vaughn or Griner and Turner.
Nurse starts out 0 for 3 against her former team. Phoenix 3 of 10 overall. Trailing by 1.
Naja Laney, number 5 scorer in the league.
She can do it all, Annie. Multi-skilled, the handles, the range. She's a playmaker. She's strong. She plays much bigger than how she's listed at 6 feet. She plays like she's 6'4" out there.
And she's a great story. I mean, you look at it, she's in her 6th season. She went to Rutgers, played for C. Vivian Stringer. In 2015, she was drafted by Chicago at number 17. And in 2016, she tore her ACL. Did not play in 2017. Chicago dropped her. Connecticut picked her up. And then she was waived by Chicago 2009. Connecticut picks her up. And then 2019, Indiana. She's the most improved. And now she's with New York. So, you know, players in this league don't ever give up. I mean, it takes sometimes 5, 6, 7 years, and they will find their spot.
Shea Petty tried to go glass from straight away and cleared by Rashonda Gray. Both teams going deeper into their bench. This is Jasmine Jones, cut off at the free throw line to Gray. Good defense there, and a late whistle on Skylar Diggins-Smith, who obviously is unhappy. She shows her emotions out there on the floor, plays with such an edge and a competitive fire, and she wants everybody to see the big screen and the replay.
Oh, Rashonda Gray going to the basket, and you see she gets hit on the elbow.
That was the elbow.
I was like going.
She had me convinced.
I don't know if Diggins-Smith jumped quite that high.
It's hilarious sometimes in these players, whether it's NBA, WNBA, so demonstrative. I didn't touch them, and then replay like, all right, on the elbow.
Well, and Gray's another player. You know, 6'2". She went to Cal, and she was freshman, Pac-12 Freshman of the Year, 3-time All-American, Pac-12 Player of the Year, and led their team in scoring and rebounding. Went to the Final Four. And the Mercury continuing to make mistakes.
Offensive foul there on Bree Turner. And Phoenix will turn it over. That's their 4th here in the first quarter. New York has only turned it over once and lead by 5. Hey, you've talked about what a great three-point shooting team this is. Onyenwede, pump fake, too strong. And here comes Skylar on the push. Into the paint, floats it up. Tipping was Turner. She goes down, and let's see, she should receive a ticket to the line right now. A couple free throws should be coming for Bree on that putback attempt.
Diggins-Smith continuing to be aggressive, get in the lane. She's so good at those floaters. Right now they're not dropping, but on the offensive boards, you can see the Mercury getting an opportunity and Turner going to the line.
And Phoenix in the bonus. So regardless of whether or not that was a field goal attempt, a couple free throws for Bree, who misfires on the first. 2 of 3 from the field. Only took 3 shots in that game on Friday. 4 points, 4 rebounds in 18 minutes. So, again, Sandy Brondello needs more offense from many players, not just Bree Turner. But Bree took 10 shots in the opener this season. Since that point, she's only averaging 5 shots per game.
Or less.
And we just know how talented she is. Sometimes a little too unselfish.
How about Shook? Shook knocking down her second 3.
After such a cold snap over the past few weeks. And we're going to get a timeout called by Sandy Brondello. Her team down by 7, wants to talk it over with 2:12 to go here in the first. New York on top. They are 3 of 7 deep, and you talked about it from the outset. This is a tremendous three-point shooting team. Number 1 in hits, number 1 in three-point percentage, and Phoenix is all shook up here in the first quarter. A couple from Kylie Shook.
Well, the one player that is not shooting over 37%, 33 coming into this game, 5 of 15, and now she is 2 of 2 against the Mercury. And Benaja Laney also getting involved, and so all you want to do defensively, you want to be able to contest. Make it difficult for them to take those shots, and right now the Mercury are struggling as far as where to put the pressure.
No Ionescu, no Howard, no Stokes. Willoughby's out for the season with an Achilles injury. And yet, New York starting this road trip up by 7 here in the first quarter. They've lost 3 in a row. So I mentioned they come in 5 and 4 on the season. So they started this year 5 and 1, including that game winner by Ionescu.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, Natasha Howard going out of the game with that strained MCL, and they hope to get her back after about 4 or 6 weeks. They just measuring wear, and she really makes a difference on the inside for them.
Griner hits Shook with the right hook.
If the Mercury are patient and they execute in the offense, they should be able to get, I would think, about 20 shots from Griner inside.
3 of 5 so far for Brittany. Now it's Laney pulling it back, wants a high screen from Shook. 3-point attempt, down it goes.
Well, you just cannot go under the screen. You've got to fight yourself and trail, and because this team is such a good shooting team.
8-point lead, biggest for New York here in the first quarter. Laney, most improved player in the WNBA in 2020 while playing in the bubble. Sophie Cunningham gives it up now to Walker on the spin, fades, comes up way short. That's a difficult shot. And here comes New York on the push. Right down the middle, going to the left hand was Jasmine Jones. Walker has tons of potential. They love the value that she brings to this team. Petty is out there running the offense, and there is Shea Petty from deep. A rebound from Shook. I mentioned last 2 games, Kylie didn't even grab 1 rebound. Pull up Jay. Laney, she is so good. So smooth. Well, everybody's learning about her. Wouldn't go for Sophie Cunningham, but you look at Laney, originally a 2nd-round pick, just an incredible journey. Onyen Wade kicks it out. But going back to Laney, injured her knee in the 2nd season, sat on the bench with Connecticut, then went to Indiana, averaged only 5 points there as Jasmine Jones scores inside. And then finally for Laney, she blossomed last year with Atlanta. And you talk about that dream season in 2020, and all of a sudden, her career has just taken off. 12-point lead for New York. They go inside to Griner, back out to Sophie Cunningham on the release, no. And when the Mercury finally hit a 3, they wave it off.
Sandy Brondello just so frustrated right now.
I believe she stepped out of bounds. She did. She stepped out, and nobody on that Mercury sideline felt like she had. So erase that 3-point hit by Cunningham. Final second of the first quarter, and New York will head to the second in control, leading Phoenix 26-14 here from downtown Phoenix. Bally Sports Arizona is the local television home of the Mercury, the Suns, the Diamondbacks, and the Coyotes. You can also stream Mercury games on the Bally Sports app. For more info on the local sports scene, check out ballysports.com. Back here with the Hall of Famer Ann Myers-Drysdale on a Sunday afternoon at Phoenix Suns Arena. A difficult first quarter for pretty much every member of the Mercury except Brittany Griner, who is 3 of 5 and 6 points and 4 rebounds. They need to go to Brittany much more often. You've got Kia Nurse started 0 for 4. Skylar Diggins-Smith 0 for 3. Alana Smith slams the ball down. Offensive foul. And Phoenix will give it up to New York. And then you go to the end of that first quarter where Sophie Cunningham finally makes a 3 for Phoenix, where they were 0 for 6, and they wave it off because she stepped out of bounds. A very frustrating start for Phoenix. But plenty of time to regroup. And this group can do it. They have the talent. Whitcomb shut down. Jones, her floater picked up by Alana Smith and stolen in the backcourt by Whitcomb. Whitcomb over to Odom.
Oh, just so sneaky. Sammy Whitcomb just right there, ready to steal it. She's had a couple steals already in the front court. And this is a team, again, they don't usually come up with a lot of steals, but against the Mercury, Mercury is not taking care of the basketball, and they're making a lot of mistakes.
A bucket by Nay Odom. The sky ball, short. And Skylar now 0 for 4 to start this one.
Yeah, 22% for the Mercury shooting the basketball. It's not going to get it done.
Pocket pass, and it was a beauty by Whitcomb to Shook.
Yeah, Shook just got far enough ahead of Griner. And Griner, you know, when she tries to block right-handed there, she cannot get to that shot because of the right hand and the right-hand block. She needed to try and go up with her left hand.
This is going to test the toughness, the mental toughness of Phoenix. There's Griner with her 4th hoop.
Well, it's only a 2. She had her foot on the on the line, and I think that she's just frustrated and saying, okay, if I can't get it inside and not get double and triple team, I'm going to take it outside.
Yeah, when you're falling down by 16 in the first half, another hit by Whitcomb.
Oh, she's automatic.
We'll just see what this Phoenix team is made of internally after the frustrations of the last 2 games at home. Off the glass and in. Chance at a 3-point play for Skylar. Phoenix needed that. They need a lift here in the second quarter.
As you said, I mean, this is early in the game, and certainly I think we're going to see it all game long, as we've said, that Skylar Diggins-Smith is going to get inside. She'll take her outside shot when she's open, and right now she hasn't hit it. She's 0 for 2 from threes, but, you know, getting to the free throw line is a huge part of Skylar Diggins-Smith's game.
Had a season high 28 against Chicago. Her career high is 35. Coming off a so-so performance against Dallas. 11 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, but those 3 blocks stood out on the stat sheet. 3 swats by the 5'9" Skylar Diggins-Smith.
Well, in her first matchup against Dallas, the game that they won, and there's another. Whitcomb is unbelievable.
That is a confident stroke.
Well, her career high is 6 threes made in a game. 5 this year against Atlanta.
Another rainbow by Skylar. This one drops. Phoenix now 2 of 9 3-point shooting. They have given Griner a 3-pointer on the stat sheet, on the stat board here, but you had mentioned her foot was on the line, so we'll see if they correct that. And if so, that would be the first 3-point hit for Phoenix by Skylar Nurse.
And that's exactly the play that Sandy Brondello wants her team to run. When Brittany Griner's getting triple teamed, you could see it. Griner does the right thing, passes it right back out to the corner, and right now the shooters from the outside, when that ball goes back for the Mercury, cannot get it to go down.
Jones cradles it, couldn't finish it. And back comes Skylar.
Now the Mercury looking to run on the defensive rebound, and she almost looked like she wanted to pass that to Griner.
Dee Richards down there helping to defend Griner. Did help force the miss. Nurse for 3. And rebounded by Shook. So Dee Richards out there leads all rookies in steals. She is just a burst of energy, just an elite defender, the rookie from Baylor. Now, almost a moving screen on Richards. Whitcomb, all sorts of confidence. And a one-handed rebound by Brittany Griner. That is rebound number 6 to go with her 9 points. 12-point lead for New York. Biggest advantage for them has been 16 here in the first half, and then it's going to be a foul on Dee Richards. She's an interesting story too, Annie. Coming out of Baylor, won that title in 2019. Second-round draft pick, taken 17th overall, but last year she was involved in a collision which left her partially paralyzed and actually returned to play about 38 days later.
And she was named the Naismith Defensive Player of the Year.
Sometimes when you watch Baylor, you think they could have 5 or 6 nominees for that award. They play so hard.
What a big-time play by Whitcomb, just taking that ball right from Griner as she turned into the middle. Whitcomb's really reading exactly where she needs to be on the defensive end. She's just one of those cornerbacks, you know, just observing what is going on and where the ball is going to be, and she anticipates
ambushes
before it happens.
That's exactly
She's
what
an
it
ambusher,
is.
yes.
She is. Picked the perfect timing and blindsided Griner on the last possession. Double high post with Turner and Brittany, who rolls, trying to seal. Nurse goes cross court to Megan Walker. And we're going to get a blocking foul, I believe. No, not on Laney.
On the lane.
I think it's
she dribbled on the lane, or the line.
Stepped out of bounds. Laney was shadowing her. There was some contact with her chest, but they call it against Phoenix, so New York will have it, leading by 12 when we come back. New York on top by 12 here in the second quarter, back with Hall of Famer Ann Myers-Drysdale. And we had an interesting conversation during that timeout, just talking about former WNBA players who could be future head coaches in the NBA. Portland is looking for a new head coach to replace Terry Stotts. And 2 names have come up, Dawn Staley and Becky Hammond, as possible replacements. Carol Lawson is now the head coach at Duke. Her name is floating out there for some jobs. So, boy, that is it's so impressive when you look at these women going from the WNBA and coaching themselves and then now being thrust into the limelight and those opportunities.
Well, it is, but I also like to say, you know, Jenny Busick has been on the Dallas bench for a long time, and, you know, there's about 5 women on benches in the NBA, and Nancy Lieberman was with Sacramento, but I think Lieberman was the first WNBA player to take a head coaching job in the WNBA for the Detroit Shock. And I think that that's what's important for me, is that when this league started with the 8 teams, there were 7 of the teams that were coached by women. Houston was the only one coached by a man, Van Chancellor. Now we've got 12 teams and only 5 are coached by women. And 3 of them are former players. Noelle Quinn just took over for Dan Hughes up in Seattle. Sandy Brondello, who played in the league, and then also Vicki Johnson. And then you've got Cheryl Reeve and Marianne Stanley. So, you know, I'd like to see more women that have played in the league, which a lot of them have, and have been coaches and assistant coaches. But I'd like to see them start being head coaches like in the NBA, which a lot of men have been NBA players and now are becoming coaches. That has to happen in this league too.
Yeah, you hope they're just not floating those names out there, that they are legitimate candidates. Megan Walker with the stick, and Phoenix needed that. Now within 10 after trailing by 16. 5:15 to go until halftime. Whitcomb's done a little bit of everything, knocking down shots, running the offense. Sophie Cunningham and a loose ball foul.
Well, you're never not going to see Sophie Cunningham going after a loose ball. I mean, that's what makes her so good, too. Just bringing that energy, her tenacity, and she just couldn't get a step on Allen and kind of takes Allen out, gets called for the foul. But the Mercury have cut it to 10, which I think is a big plus coming out of this timeout for Phoenix.
9 points for Skylar Diggins-Smith, 9 for Brittany Griner here in the first half. Skylar has picked up her scoring in the quarter, has knocked down 4 of 4 from the line to help account for those 9 points. Laney behind the line for 3, absolutely. Laney comes in shooting 39% from far away, 49% overall from the field. And mention how she is number 5 in the league in scoring at 21 per. Laney has 13 points to lead New York. Back comes a 3 from Diggins-Smith.
Yeah, Skylar Diggins-Smith, again, gets a good screen by Brittany Griner and lots of time to get that shot off.
Third 3-point hit for Phoenix. Gray shut down there by Cunningham. Onyenwede. Nowhere to go, and now it's Whitcomb with 5 on the shot clock, launches a 3, wide left. And ripped out of there by Griner. That is rebound number 7 for Brittany. Skylar into the heart of the defense. Draws contact, will pop back up, and a couple of free throws.
She saw daylight, and boy, she went for it. The one thing that was interesting, she went back to her right hand. She's left-handed. She goes up and goes underneath the arms and draws the foul and doesn't fall for her. But again, getting to the free throw line, Skylar Diggins-Smith, one of the big parts of her game, and just trying to get her team untracked.
Yeah, and you're right. If she does shoot that with the left hand, she might not have drawn the foul. Have you seen anybody else shoot with such a high arch as Skylar? I mean, there's times when she's shooting a three and you're watching the TV broadcast and you lose the ball out of frame.
No, and that's what makes her, I think, her shot so special. And then, way to go, Tom.
Well,
always do it. Something said.
I was just talking about the arch, not the accuracy. You can't blame me for that one. She is an 85% career free throw shooter, so I'm not going to throw her off. Rebecca Allen left elbow, chased down by Cunningham. 9-point game. Cunningham, deep three. Couldn't get it.
I like it, though. She kept pushing the ball. She got herself in a position where she had a wide open shot.
Laney working off the screen. And now we're going to get a foul on Phoenix. Remember, Brittany Griner has 2 personals already. And it was on Megan Walker. It looked like it was away from the play. But New York will have it on the side. Liberty with 3 team fouls. That is number 2 on Phoenix here with 3:30 to go in the second. Laney, good look off the screen. Good shot. Benijah Laney now has 15 to lead all scorers.
Boy, in the last 3 games from her three-point range, she's shooting over 57% and 3 of 3 in this game.
She is just a joy to watch. Variety of ways that she can score. Diggins-Smith drops it into Griner, who puts it in easily past Chook.
And I really think for the Phoenix Mercury, this is a game nobody can really guard Brittany Griner. I mean, she can take it to the basket every time when she wants to. Oh, a nice move.
Fade away, Laney again, putting on a show here in the first half. 17.
She's 7 of 9 her last game. She was 11 of 18. She's going to put up shots, there's no question, especially with an SQ out.
Ooh, and down went Rebecca Allen. Took an inadvertent shot from Brittany Griner, and she hit the floor hard. She is still down on the court. We'll get a timeout. New York up 11. We'll check on Rebecca Allen during the break. All right, Annie, you've heard of Rex Chapman block charge, very popular on Twitter. I've got one for you. Flop or for real? Rebecca Allen going down, taking a hit from Brittany Griner, who just picked up her 3rd personal foul. That was like a knockout punch.
That was a hit.
That was a hit. It's the last time I listened to my producer said it didn't look too rough. That was definitely a shoulder to the chin.
They both ended up taking the same lane. And I certainly think it was unintentional by BG. And they just got caught cutting the same position right there and met head on.
Yeah, if it wasn't legit, she certainly sold it all the way to the New York bench. Looked like she needed some smelling salts. Hopefully Rebecca Allen is okay. She's got a couple of hoops, 4 points. She has a couple of personal fouls, 2 for Rashonda Gray for this Liberty team that came out extremely aggressive. Okay, take 2. That is face to the shoulder, producer Mark Goldberg. He finally gave in. He had to see it a 3rd time.
The slow-mo.
Thank goodness our producer is not a WNBA referee.
Well, and again,
but he's a heck of a producer.
Well, and you can see Brittany Griner talking to Elena Smith on the bench there, and I'm sure a lot of frustration on her part, and felt that she was just going to go set down into the corner and come down and set up down low. And unfortunately, shoulder to face, gets called for her 3rd foul.
And it appears she's at the far end of the New York bench, and Allen is not going to be coming directly into the game after that contact.
And Griner goes out with 11 points, 7 rebounds, and she is 5 of 6 from the floor. But right now, Benijah Laney with 17 points, shooting 7 of 9 from the floor, 3 of 3.
All right, so Taurazi's out. Griner's in foul difficulty. Obviously, Skylar's having a good first half with 13. We talk about the X factor with the Phoenix Mercury in terms of fans, but for them, to cut this lead below double digits and make a game of it, especially here to finish out the final 2:41 of the first half. Who are you looking at?
For the Mercury?
For the Mercury.
Well, I still like Nurse. I would like to see Nurse start making some shots, and certainly Turner's got to take hold and say, okay, I'm in the middle. I've got to start making shots and be aggressive in getting the ball and maybe hitting some offensive glass. But you know Skylar Diggins-Smith is going to get hers, but so is Whitcomb.
Whitcomb from far, far away. She has been lighting it up. That's her second bomb, now has 9 points. Kia Vaughn out there has it for Phoenix as she comes in to replace Griner with those 3 personal fouls. And Kia Vaughn was exceptional down the stretch in the bubble last year. Coming up short for Phoenix was Megan Walker. Walker came over to Phoenix in that trade with Kia Nurse from New York as Phoenix gave up 2 first-round draft picks for Nurse and Walker. Fouled on the shot, free throws coming for New York, and it will be Onyenwede. She was the Rookie of the Month in May, comes in averaging 11 points per game, and Onyenwede leading all rookies at 11 points per game.
Now, she led the Bruins 3 years in a row, scoring-wise, and left there with the Pac-12, was the second all-time in points per game, free throws, number 3 and number 4 in field goals. And so obviously very active and really didn't play a lot on the outside. She was really an inside player, had 5 double-doubles. But, you know, her outside game with the New York Liberty is really showing.
Knocks down all 3 free throws after being fouled on the 3-point attempt. New York 7 of 14 from deep, 50% from far away. Their lead is 17, that's their biggest. Nurse step through, trying to clean up her own mess, tipped out.
Boy, the ball just is not falling for Kia Nurse.
0 for 8 against her former team. Does have 2 free throws. Vaughn trying to jar it away from Laney, pressuring their star player. Diggins-Smith gets away with a little hand check, but good pressure defensively there on Jasmine Jones. Grabs her own miss, but then tosses it out of bounds.
How about Jones never giving up on the play, though? She got inside and got that offensive rebound. Very aggressive.
Yeah, not surprising that she is an aggressive sort. Her dad played football for the Cowboys, Reginald Jones. They leave Skylar, and she comes up short on the floater. Had an opportunity there. And now back comes New York, a 48-31, nearing the 1-minute mark here of the second quarter. Onyenwede denied at the rim. Kia Vaughn was there defensively. That's where Kia Vaughn likes to operate.
Oh, good help out by Laney.
Yep, they throw the double team. Open look for Sophie Cunningham, who drills it.
Now, Cunningham always has such great confidence in her game, and even when she's missing shots, she's getting an opportunity in this game to get minutes behind her, and when you're playing, you can play looser.
Yeah, you've talked many times about what a spectacular shooter she was coming out of Missouri. Crossover, Laney, step back, spin move, on the baseline, jumper by Onyenwede wouldn't fall. And now 30 seconds to go for Phoenix. And cut into that lead. Took it down to 9. New York stretched it to 17. And now final seconds here of the first half. Diggins-Smith leading Phoenix with 13 points. She goes to the spin to the right side. And to the line will go Skylar Diggins-Smith with 11 seconds to go here in the half.
Yeah, looking for number 7 and 8 free throws. But let that clock run. The lane opened up for her.
Was a 4-time All-Star with the Wings in Dallas and had her first season solid. Started all 22 games, averaging 18 points. She can do a little bit of that in the absence of Taurazi.
Well, she's 4-time All-WNBA too, and in 2014 she was most improved.
Good to go at the line. Phoenix 10 of 12 from the stripe. Final seconds, second quarter. Laney behind the line for 3, wouldn't go. And New York is going to take a 12-point lead into the locker room, led by Benijah Laney's 17 points. They knock down 7 threes to take the lead on Phoenix. Stay with us at halftime as Mercury guard and Suns pregame analyst Skylar Diggins-Smith breaks down the pick and roll play of NBA All-Star Chris Paul, plus the Mercury celebrate Pride Month. For the Liberty over the Phoenix Mercury here at Phoenix Suns Arena. Halftime, Tom Leander and Hall of Famer Ann Myers-Drysdale. And for another game, Phoenix struggling to hit shots, but that's not the case for Benijah Laney. It's the Laney show, 17 points in the first half.
Yeah, 7 of 10 from the floor, and she's been spectacular from three-point range. And certainly I think this is a Liberty team. They know who's going to get the ball, even with Sabrina Ionescu out of the game, who's number 2 in assists and averaging over 13 points a game. Everybody else has stepped up, and certainly Laney has been that player all year long looking to score points. And she is on step back. She's getting, penetration and then pulls back, but good high percentage shots, and really hasn't had a hand in her face to really distract her at all.
And then you have Skylar Diggins-Smith. 7 of her points have come at the free throw line, 7 of 8 from the stripe, and she leads Phoenix with 15.
Yeah, 15 points and 2 of 4 from three-point range, which is big, but 3 of 9 from the floor. And as you said, her free throw shooting is a key, and so if she can get to the line again in the second half, but you just hate to see her body take so much of a beating because she's on the ground all the time, and it's tough because when you get back up and you have to go down and get back up, and it takes a lot out of you.
Yeah, and we'll see if Rebecca Allen was able to get back up after taking that shoulder shot from Brittany Griner, but the threes are dropping, and that's something that you expected from New York. 7 3-point hits in the first half. Sammy Whitcomb had 2. Shook knocked down her first 2 early as well.
Yeah, and that was tough for the Mercury to kind of gather themselves and get going, and Griner had got those 2 quick fouls, and certainly she's been effective inside, 11.7 rebounds, and shot well from the floor. But, having her out, then where do those points come from the middle with Turner and Vaughn?
Yeah, and we talked about who the Liberty are missing. Ionescu, obviously the main player, but Kia Stokes not with this team, and she's the all-time leading shot blocker in New York history and has been so effective for that team, not only with her defense, but she's a tremendous offensive player as well.
Well, she really is, and she's so cerebral. I mean, she's so smart. She knows where to be, coming from Connecticut and playing for Gino Auriemma, and he's got a lot of players out here and in the league also. But, yeah, Kia Stokes has really been an interesting player to watch because her numbers weren't great, but she does all the little things. And, she only averaged about 6 points and 7-8 rebounds last year, but, she gets it done on the inside for the Liberty.
And then, of course, without Natasha Howard, as we take a look at the upcoming schedule for the Phoenix Mercury, 3 in a row against the Sparks, the first 2 in L.A., and then an 8-day break before they take on the Sparks here at home in Phoenix.
And the Sparks lost a tough one last night against Minnesota, and Wheeler went out of that game and had hit her head on the ground. But, certainly this is a LA team that's one of the top defensive teams in the league. So what kind of offense can the Mercury bring when they do play the Sparks?
So this Liberty team coming in 5-4, lost 3 in a row, looked solid in the first half. Natasha Howard, really that was their key acquisition during the offseason. The knee injury, they're expecting her to be out a total of 4 to 6 weeks, but boy, adding her to this squad, the 3-time WNBA champion who played the first couple of games of this season. And then you mentioned too, Sammy Whitcomb, the last 4 seasons with the Storm, and she's won 2 titles. So this is a makeover for the New York Liberty after going 2-20 in the Wubble last summer.
Those were 2 key players that the Seattle Storm lost. And Stephanie Talbot, who was in New York, was in that trade, went to Seattle, and now she's leading the league in three-point shooting as far as percentage-wise. But, those were 2 key players. Certainly we saw Natasha Howard step up and was Defensive Player of the Year when Breanna Stewart was out because she established herself on the inside, and she was just a monster and also improved her game as far as shooting the outside shot. And then when Stewart came back, I mean, it mixed things up. Seattle's still the #1 team in the league right now with the best record, and they're getting it done. But the New York Liberty have 2 pretty special, quote, Seattle Storm champions now playing for the Liberty.
And then hopefully a healthy Ionescu at some point. Had the ankle injury, which ended her rookie year after just her 3rd game, and then had the Liberty's first triple-double ever in the 3rd game of the season this year against Minnesota when she had 26 points, 12 assists, and 10 rebounds. Second half starts with a Bree Turner layup.
Good patience by the Mercury on the offensive end.
You mentioned that Seattle Storm team. They moved to 10-2 today with an 89-66 thumping of Connecticut. Those were the top two teams going into this afternoon's battle. 89-66, so the Sun dropped to 8-3. Brianna Stewart had 22 for the Storm.
And Connecticut is missing Jonquel Jones.
Brittany Griner with the baseline hit. Back-to-back buckets for Phoenix to start the second half.
Yeah, in New York with Laney missing that outside shot.
A rare miss for Laney, who's now 7 of 11 shooting.
Now this is key for the Mercury coming out in this third quarter. Obviously hitting back-to-back baskets and then getting the rebounds. And certainly I think we said rebounding was going to be a big key in this game. And 27-21, the Mercury are leading the Liberty.
Walker set up by Diggins Smith. A hard charge for Phoenix to begin the third quarter. They are within 5 after trailing by 17. Big time surge by Phoenix. .48-43 New York. Shook down the lane, sent away by Griner. First swat by Brittany this afternoon. Leads the league in swats and followed closely by her teammate Bree Turner.
Phoenix coming out with a different attitude in this third quarter.
Laney, step back three, too much, rebounded by Turner.
Yeah, she's 0 of 2 starting out in this third quarter.
Onyenwede is 0 for 7 for New York. For Phoenix, Kia Nurse, the former member of the Liberty, 0 for 8 so far. Working around the perimeter. Kia feeds Griner. Face up on Shook. Couple dribbles, spins, puts it in.
Well, good patience. She came up to the mid post and really did not give the Liberty an opportunity to double down on her.
Whitcomb into the lane. Pitch it out to Rebecca Allen. Allen straight and sweet for 3. So she is back in the lineup after going to the bench, taking a shot to the chin from the shoulder of Brittany Griner. And Rebecca Allen, 7 points. Offline for Skyler. Whitcomb also with 5 assists in this game. Straight away Shook, hit 2 early threes, came up way short on that one.
Now the second half is a little bit different too. Your legs are a little bit more tired than they were in the first half, and you're really going on adrenaline sometimes in that first half.
Nurse from behind the line, still looking for her first field goal. Has a couple of free throws. Back comes Laney. Rebecca Allen sidesteps, fires it up, and another board for Griner. Griner out there with those 3 personal fouls. Walker getting the start. She'll launch a 3. They're getting 3 happy. Both teams. Offensive rebound on the loose ball for Skylar Diggins-Smith and the stick back.
Yeah, Skylar Diggins-Smith, a payback because that happened to the Mercury a couple times in that first half.
Skylar with 17. In and out for Allen.
We mentioned that in this game, the Liberty, the #1 3-point shooting team, and they've missed a few in this second half.
Nurse sets up Bree Turner. Fantastic feed. That's what Kia needs to stay involved, even if those shots are not falling. Be a distributor.
Well, doing a good job as far as the Mercury contesting the shots, and then a big steal by Nurse.
The defense after the distribution.
Now she got
to a wide open Walker. And that's the beauty of putting a team together around Brittany Griner. We talked about it. It's just a matter, and Sandy Brondello talking about hitting shots, putting those shooters around Brittany, sometimes drawing 2, 3 defenders.
Yes, Sandy Brondello and Jim Pittman coming into this season said these are the kind of players we want to be able to knock those outside shots down when Brittany Griner gets doubled and triple team. And right now, Griner's doing a good job because she's drawing the defense, but right now for the Mercury, their outside players have to come through.
So they also need to bring the energy in New York, continue to shoot those threes. They are the best 3-point shooting team in the league. Right now, 8 of 22 from far away.
Nice hesitation.
The echo and the hoop for Kia Nurse, her first field goal of the afternoon.
I'm glad we see the game the same way.
We certainly do. Well, you see it a lot better than I do. You're in the Hall of Fame, I'm not. Baseline jumper missing. Everything was Odom. This is a different Mercury team. They've tied it up at 51 after trailing by 17, but throw it away on the outlet pass. That's right. Skylar went over to Brittany, said, no worries. Let's keep this momentum going.
Yeah, 11 turnovers for the Mercury, only 4 for the Liberty. And you see we saw the hesitation by Nurse, and she hasn't gotten discouraged. And that's a big plus. And she's a veteran player. She's a hard-nosed player. She comes from a hockey family, and she doesn't give up.
Laney lost it. Phoenix comes up with it. They're outscoring New York 15-3 here in the third quarter. Megan Walker trying to draw some contact. Tipped out of there by Bree Turner and tracked down by Griner. Shot clock is at 10. Griner's pass intercepted by Allen. Back come the Liberty. They've got a 3-on-1. Whitcomb, wide open 3. And then a tussle between Nurse.
Kia Nurse is just all over the place in this third quarter.
She came up with the assist, the steal, and now a jump ball with 4:48 to go in the third quarter and a timeout. 15-3 Phoenix here in the third. No one wants a bully on their team. Let's stop bullying together at muststopbullying.org. Phoenix was bullied in the first half as New York took that 17-point lead. But what has changed for Phoenix? Energy #1, defensive intensity, and maybe even hitting some shots.
Why are you asking me? You just answered the question. You just answered it.
You're right. That was the echo.
Yes. Yeah. No, but you're right. And hitting those first 2 shots for the Mercury was huge. And I think getting that confidence back. But their defense has really stepped up. Certainly we see, I think that's one of the things Sandy Brondello has a tough time taking Kia Nurse off the floor when she is 0 for 9. And she's hit 1 bucket now, but she's so aggressive on the defensive end. She always and usually is defending the best offensive player. And she's just so smart out there. But, you know, just the energy level and the confidence, and certainly with the Liberty missing those first few 3-point shots. And rebounding, we talked about at the beginning of the game, rebounding a big key for the Mercury to stay in this game.
Diggins-Smith over to Nurse and bounces off of Odom. And it'll be a foul on Nay Odom. You know, there was an interesting moment that you and I caught in the first half when Phoenix fell behind by double figures when Chastity Melvin seemed to take over the timeout early. Sandy Brondello was over talking to Julie Hairgrove, but she was pretty intense. Chastity Melvin was definitely getting her message across to these Mercury players. Kia Nurse couldn't dial it up.
She played in this league. She was with the staff for Sandy Brondello last year, and sometimes you need another voice and somebody that's been out there, and certainly Sandy has too as a player, but it's Sandy Whitcomb with another outside 3 for her. She's 3 of 6 from the 3-point shot, and that's usually where she's going to take her shots. Very rarely does she take a 2-pointer.
Whitcomb in double figures now with 12. Came in shooting 48% from far away. They dare Nurse to shoot. She drives, draws the contact. And another chance at a couple free throws for Kia Nurse.
And there's the hesitation when you're not hitting your shot. She was open, didn't take it, took the drive, and probably took it a little bit too deep, got it blocked, but the ball comes back to the Mercury. You know, Ellen with a nice block, and she wanted the ball to go. Oh, they did call a foul. I thought they just called the block shot.
Yeah, I think there was contact before that block.
Well, there was, but usually Kia Nurse doesn't get the call.
That's right. Well, and if you're New York, too, you're going to back off of Kia Nurse. She's missed all 7 of her 3-point attempts, but still able to put that ball on the floor and get into the lane. 1 of 2 at the line for Kia. There's Sammy Whitcomb. We see her doing a little bit of everything now, running the point with Ionescu out. Knocking down the threes, a 48% 3-point shooter, and coming into this game, 52 3-point attempts and only 3 free throw attempts. Inside bucket. And down on the floor is Skylar Diggins-Smith for Phoenix. Saying that she took an elbow to the gut area, and she is in pain and not happy with the officials.
flailed back.
So they are reviewing this to see if there was possibly a flagrant with that contact to the midsection of Skylar. Opponent for the Phoenix Mercury. And when you look at LA this season, so there is a technical on Whitcomb. Flagrant foul on Sammy Whitcomb, and that will result in the free throws by Skylar. So off to LA, 2 games for Phoenix on Wednesday and Friday in Los Angeles. Sparks obviously the season without Candace Parker. They have a 4-5 record. Nneka Agwumike averaging 16 points and 7 rebounds, but she sustained a knee injury against Dallas on June 1st and has missed the last 4 games.
And Chiney Agwumike has been out with the back. But yes, they lost Candace Parker, Chelsea Gray, and Raquana Williams.
And then they lost at Minnesota yesterday by 16. Skylar hits the free throw, 56-53, New York on top. And after a very long break and a review of that flagrant foul on Whitcomb, play resumes. Shea Petty running the point for Phoenix. Low block, 3 defenders on Griner, and still able to force it in. Unbelievable shot by Brittany.
Yeah, she's so strong, and that's one of the things that Sandy Brondello said, that she, coming in this year after playing in Russia, that she's come in healthy and a lot stronger.
Oh, there were 6 arms reaching in on Brittany on that shot attempt. Turner went for the block, instead comes away with the foul and a chance at a 3-point play for Naodum. Check that, that's Rashonda Gray inside.
Well, look at the triple team, how quickly it comes over. And boy, did they close, and Griner was able to get that shot up.
I will petition the WNBA at some point to where we can get those ponytails that don't block the name and the number.
They'll have to put the number right on the rear end of their
somewhere
of their shorts.
They have to wear a hat with the number on it. It's just it's impossible to tell. 59-55 New York, inside of 3 minutes to go here in the third. There's circles back. Second screen by Turner. 3 seconds on the shot clock for Griner, who plugs it.
Well, big time shot for Griner. She's knocked down a couple facing the basket and certainly opens things up. But, you know, you'd like to see the Mercury run that play that they ran in the first couple possessions, because they were such easy baskets.
And they go right back to Rashonda Gray in the low post on Brianna Turner.
You know, one of the things that the Liberty are doing a nice job of is getting inside with Gray.
Getting back to Griner, she is now 9 of 12 from the field, 19 points, 12 rebounds. Came in shooting 57% from the field, 5th best in the league, number 1 in blocks, and averaging 18 on the season.
And her high this year is the 27 points and 16 rebounds.
Cut off by Allen on the double team, turns baseline, squares up, and boarded by Laney.
Now, I like the fact that they went back inside and it was a one-on-one situation. You'd love to have seen Griner just go inside.
Gray extremely active in the low block, coming up with a loose ball, in and out for Allen.
Yeah, and for the Mercury, they cannot allow the Liberty, and give the Liberty credit going after the offensive glass, but giving the Liberty second and third opportunities, and we talked about that in the beginning of this game, which they've been able to do.
Deep position by Griner, and then forced to foul from behind was Rashonda Gray.
I mean, nobody can keep Griner out of the lane one-on-one, especially with this Liberty team. And Gray, who's strong, but at 6'2", you know, size-wise is giving up not only height, but weight.
Walt Hopkins doing an excellent job with the New York team this year. Up by 4 here in the third quarter. He's in his second year, was an assistant in Minnesota, where they won a title with the Lynx while Walt was there as an assistant. But he's been known as just a great communicator and a player development coach. So perfect for a young team like this Liberty squad. Only went 2-20 in the bubble and surpassed their win total as they won the first 3 games of the season this year. Petty with the floater. It was tipped back to Shea Petty, and then a foul in the paint.
And that was a nice play by Petty. She did a little hesitation, which froze the defense a little bit and gave Kia Vaughn a chance to go down into the lane. But even though she missed the floater, it could have gone either way as far as passing or taking the shot.
New York in the penalty rest of the way here in the third quarter. Phoenix 12 of 15 from the line so far. Petty, who just brings the energy. Such a smart player, not afraid of the big shot. Ionescu on the sidelines with that ankle tendonitis. A lot of disappointed Phoenix fans, I'm sure, hoping to see Sabrina in uniform this afternoon. 2 free throws for Petty. Joined Phoenix in the bubble last season after she was cut by the Mystics. And of all things, she ends up in the playoffs, hitting a game winner at the buzzer against Washington. Whitcomb into the lane, floats it in with that left hand.
Now, Shook did a nice job screening out the Mercury, being able to come over and help.
Back to a 4-point New York lead. Schuyler with the sky ball, wide left, and boarded by Allen. Phoenix out rebounding New York, 39, 37, 27.
Now Phoenix got back into this game with their defense.
And now Laney with their first bucket of the second half. Had 17 in the first half.
Yeah, Laney at 6 foot, able to post up.
You see Hopkins over there clapping for his defense to pick up the intensity.
And a good call. Allen just pushing Turner out of the way.
You might want to call that foul on Walt Hopkins. He was the one over there, very demonstrative in telling his players, you are not aggressive enough defensively, and moments later they're busted for the foul. To the line goes Bree Turner. 5th in the league in rebounding, 2nd in blocks, 6th in field goal percentage. And it really had that breakout campaign last year, especially down the stretch, and made the all WNBA defensive team for Phoenix. We talked about the unique style that Bree has at the free throw line. Doesn't even take a dribble. Catches that pass, lines up the seams, and lets it fly. Laney cut off by Turner, and they're going to call a blocking foul on Bree Turner, who's looking at both referees saying, what am I supposed to do? I'm moving my feet, I'm shuffling, and it appeared that Laney just lost her balance and tripped.
Yeah, Sandy Brondello not happy with the call whatsoever, and absolutely you see that Laney just loses balance with her feet. Nice pass.
Finds Shook, and Kylie Shook with the hoop. Nakia Stokes out, more minutes for the second-year player from Louisville.
And Kylie Shook having a big game for the Liberty with 10 points and the 5 rebounds, but she's been so effective on the defensive end and also setting good screens.
Unforced turnover there by Phoenix. Gives it back to New York. Final 10 seconds of the third quarter. Laney misfires, and Phoenix will have 4.5 to get a shot off to close out this third quarter. They started the period on a 15-3 run to tie it up. Petty trying to break free. They double team her in the backcourt. Almost turned it over. Skyler to end the third quarter, couldn't get it. We are heading to the fourth and final quarter. New York's biggest lead was 17 in the first half. Phoenix tied it up in the third, and now Liberty by 6 going to the fourth. Heading to the fourth quarter here from downtown Phoenix. Liberty on top 67-61. Phoenix did briefly take a 3-point lead. And now New York with a 6-point edge. One positive, I think, that a couple positives. Phoenix coming out in the third quarter, but number one has to be containing Laney, who only had 2 points in the third quarter.
Yeah, no question that was big. And I thought the defense against New York in that third quarter really helped the Liberty get back into this game.
Crossover by Jasmine Jones, and on the release, a whistle, and you can see the exasperation on the Phoenix bench.
How about
Sandy Brondello and all of her assistants up in the air, waving their arms in protest of that foul call.
Jasmine Jones from Louisville played for Jeff Walls, as Kaylee Shook did. And Jones tied Diana Taurasi and Duana Bonner for technicals last year in her first year as a rookie.
Wow. There is Diana, who celebrated her 39th birthday on Friday.
I know she'd like to be out there. There's no question.
That's unheard of. I mean, for a rookie to be at the top of the Tex.
Well, she was a 3-year starter, and she has the most games played at Louisville. And there's a lot of good players that went to Louisville.
You know, you've heard some broadcast stations say our research is better than yours. Nobody's research is better than Ann Myers Drysdale. I will put your research up against anybody's.
Yeah, and that was a tough possession for the Mercury. I really thought that they should have scored out of that. It was one-on-one with Griner, and Griner's got to be aggressive, getting into the lane and getting position, and can't worry about the double-triple team.
Traveling call on Onyenwere. Well, it's been a long afternoon for her. Has not hit a field goal yet.
Well, the Mercury are lucky, too, that Onyenwere is having a tough game. But again, another good defensive player, even though she's not scoring, she's out there.
Griner turns to her left, and that's fouled by Shook.
And that's what's going to happen. If she's aggressive, going to the basket, she's going to get a foul. And even if you miss it, you should have somebody down there getting an offensive rebound because she's getting doubled and triple teamed.
Had 19 points, 6 rebounds, couple of blocks on Friday against the Wings. The previous 2 matchups with Dallas, 27 points, 16 rebounds. I mean, those are the numbers that she has consistently put up in her career. And Annie, we talk about how refreshed she is mentally and physically coming into this season. She left the Wubble after 12 games last summer and won another title in Russia during the off season. But you can see the bounce. Like, all you have to do is take a look at the 2 dunks that she's had this season. So she has 15 total in her WNBA career.
She's number 1 in block shots and number 2 in rebounding.
Whitcomb, step back on Turner. Wide right. Jasmine Jones, offensive rebound, over to Shook. Shook with a hot start, a couple of threes.
Look at the Liberty. I mean, they just swarm. They're like bees. They go after the ball.
And then they quickly spread the floor because they have so many three-point shooters, and a foul is going to be called there on Megan Walker, the former member of the Liberty. Megan had played only 1 season in New York after being drafted by the Liberty and really didn't play much in New York last season, but that didn't keep Suns general manager Jim Pittman from not realizing the kind of potential that she has. The pass by Shook intended for Laney, who left her spot, and Phoenix comes away with the turnover.
Well, Walker also had to, not only the bubble, but, fought the COVID-19 a little bit. Learned a little floater by Skyler on the baseline, but Walker just really has an opportunity to really get going. She played 3 years at Connecticut an average almost 20 points and 8 rebounds a game.
Running right-hander by Jasmine Jones was a gem.
Oh, you were waiting for that.
That just kind of came off the tongue. And then there is Brittany Griner. She's back to the stripe. 2 of 2 at the line for Brittany. The team overall 18 of 21. And Brittany trying to add to her 21 points. And the tender touch from Skylar Diggins-Smith.
Yeah, a little spin move on Richards and going baseline. And again, being left-handed really fools defensive players sometimes.
70-65. New York with the lead. 7:48 to go here in the fourth.
And this is only the second time Griner's gotten to the line.
And she's an excellent free throw shooter, especially for starting center. She has nice touch at the line. Always interesting to see that little side spin, but it goes in.
And I'm always interested to hear announcers say about hands, whether you've got big hands or small hands. It does not matter what size your hands are as far as knocking down free throws.
It sounds like a Shaq argument.
I'm sorry. Or Antetokounmpo.
Yeah.
Giannis,
freak. I always just go freak.
Giannis just Antetokounmpo, missing free throws completely.
Turner forced the steal. Megan Walker on the push, and a foul will send her to the line. Nigel Laney busted for the infraction.
Now that's a break for the Mercury, but big rebound and pushing the ball out. Walker coming down, and again, Walker's so athletic. I think she gets the opportunity to really get confidence and things going. Certainly she's been in the starting lineup since Diana Trossy's been out, but force that contact on the break situation.
And going back to the defense, Bree Turner has been ultra aggressive for Phoenix this afternoon. Megan hits the first free toss. Turner has 7 rebounds, 9 points, and go back to that stat that I had mentioned earlier in the broadcast. She scored double figures 3 times, and the Mercury have won all 3 games.
But again, you talk about her defense. Her numbers are always not going to really tell what kind of game she's played. It's what she does on the defensive end.
Helped pry away that steal, and now it's a 2-point game. Dee Richards back out there for New York. Jones spins to her left. Pull up Jay. Got it.
Yeah, the Mercury had dropped into that zone, and Jones, recognizing that, got into a seam.
Skylar over to Bree. Back cut. Megan Walker quickly shut down there by Laney. Shot clock inside of 10. Nurse goes bank.
My favorite shot.
Yeah, have to go traditional when you're 1 for 13 from the field, and it worked for Kia, who has 7 points, and it's a 2-point game. Miscommunication. Liberty turn it back over to Phoenix.
And that's the defense, the rotation on that zone, and Walker putting pressure on, and Liberty looked for a back door and missed the pass.
Had terrific denial defense by Phoenix. 6:36 to go. And the Mercury trying to improve to 6-5 on the season before embarking on 3 games with LA. Of course, the first one is always part of the Commissioner's Cup. All the teams keeping track of that Commissioner Cup record to see who will play in the finals here in Phoenix. Skip pass by Griner over to Walker. Into the lane, rises up, couldn't finish. Good strong move, and then losing it out of bounds. It looks like it went off of New York unless they call a foul. Yes.
And there's the play by Turner, forcing that ball out of bounds. And even though Walker missed that shot, I love the fact that she was aggressive getting in the lane. But Breezy Turner, really, such a different player in today's game than she was the other night against Dallas.
Dallas really frustrated Phoenix. Right-handed hook by Griner, and she goes bank.
Cutting across the key on the move.
Couple of bank deposits here in the last couple of minutes from Nurse and now Griner. We're tied up at 72. Blocking foul on Skylar. Jasmine Jones has come in with a fury for New York.
Jasmine Jones at the line, shooting 2.
That is personal foul number 2 on Skylar. Griner still with the 3 that she picked up in the second quarter. She had 3 fouls midway through the second period.
Oh, and Jones was an 8th grader. Florida State offered her a scholarship. That's how good they thought she was.
In 8th grade.
8th grade.
Now I think it's happening in 6th grade in some places.
Well, again, you talk about her aggressiveness. Her brother and her dad played football, played for the Cowboys. So you grew up in a football family, you get the mentality, or a hockey family. There's a different kind of mentality.
Jones gives New York a 2-point lead. Jasmine off the bench with 9 points and 6 rebounds. Crashing those boards on the runner. And Skyler looks over and says, okay, we finally have a whistle that makes sense. 5:50 to go. Timeout. Diggin Smith at the line when we come back. I don't know if you at home can see that big screen. They are having some fun on the dance cam. A good group here on a Sunday afternoon watching 2 of the original 8 WNBA teams. Only 3 remain of those 8 teams, starting out 25 years ago. Phoenix, New York, and LA. Ironically, that is the next opponent, the next 3 games for Phoenix.
And Phoenix is the only team that is original, ownership, even though it transferred, but that it's here, staying here at the arena, where New York has been sold and they now play out of Brooklyn, and the LA Sparks were sold.
1 of 2 at the line for Skyler. New York has 14 fouls already with 5:45 still to play here in the 4th quarter. That could certainly come into play in terms of more Phoenix free throws. Laney very quiet so far in the second half. Hits the brakes, fades back, and still can't connect. Now, she was unstoppable in the first 2 quarters.
Well, they put Turner on her in the second half, and so with that size, she's had a tougher time.
Turner pops, whips it in to Griner. Here comes the double team. Tried to dribble away, and a traveling violation on Brittany. Yeah, she felt that pressure coming from the baseline and wanted to spin to the lane. And she still has a quizzical look on her face.
Yeah, 14 turnovers. They've done a better job in the second half as far as taking care of the basketball, but 14 turnovers to 10.
There's going to be a FanDuel book here in Phoenix Suns Arena. You're going to be able to place bets. And I think you'd have an over and under as Jasmine Jones sticks the shot. Over and under how many times a player actually agrees with the call. I think that should be one of the bets, the parlays. It's going to be below 2 in most games. And there's contact as Brittany Griner trying to get position on Rashonda Gray.
When I was playing in the WBL, I was getting fouled a lot, and, which I fouled a lot too. But I was getting to the free throw line, and the one ref goes, "Shut up, Myers. You've been to the line enough." Because I'm like, "Well, I got fouled. I got fouled. But I got fouled."
Yeah, that was the only way to stop.
Come on, Myers.
That was the only way to stop you on your way to the Hall of Fame.
So I thought I better be quiet and just play.
No, never.
Because I wasn't going to get a call.
You have to admit, though, I mean, when you watch modern basketball, it's the players are much more vocal these days, I would think. Not that they weren't before, but it just seems sometimes that if they just give the referee credit every now and again, they might receive a call down the road.
And certain players do have that respect by the officials.
Reach in on Skyler, the drive by Laney. Laney's just so strong. When you watch her play, boy, she could be a 2-guard, a shooting guard in the league, or she could be a power forward. I mean, she just has the variety pack of skills. First Liberty player ever to score 20 or more points in the first 8 games of the season, and then was finally held to only 8 in the last game against Connecticut. So first 8 games, she went over 20, and no other Liberty player. And we mentioned one of the original franchises, 25 years of basketball in New York. Nobody else had done that since Laney.
Well, the Rutgers players always come into this league, and one of the originals was Sue Wicks, who played for the New York Liberty in the early days.
And a player that started as a second-round pick, bounced around, wasn't played by Connecticut. Megan Walker trying to tee up a 3, chasing her miss.
Cappy Pondexter wasn't too bad either.
No, not at all. Quite a career here in Phoenix, helping the Mercury to one of those titles. Laney Trying to get started here in the second half. Circling around Griner, nowhere to go. Breaking free, Jasmine Jones.
Yeah, the defense just broke down, and Liberty being patient, recognizing getting to the basket. They've done a better job as far as their three-point shot not falling in this second half. Have taken advantage going to the hoop.
We talked about the heavier load on the Phoenix starters, Annie, including Skylar Diggins-Smith. She's played 32 minutes along with Bree Turner, 29 for Griner. Megan Walker, 27, Kia Nurse, 24. Really not much production from the Mercury bench again this afternoon, only 5 points. Meanwhile, Jasmine Jones, 13 herself off the bench for New York.
Well, and you look at Diggins-Smith and Griner, they are 4 and 6 with minutes played. And Laney actually is number 2 in the league with minutes. Courtney Williams beats her by seconds.
Offensive rebound by Turner. Found Skylar Diggins-Smith, couldn't knock down the three. Skylar 2 of 7 deep. Phoenix as the team 5 of 24 after they went 3 of 20 in their last game against Dallas. So those threes just not dropping for Phoenix. Gray squares up. Long rebound into the lap of Griner. Adding to her total, that's now 13 rebounds for Brittany to go with her 27 points.
Well, she's had 15 shots. I think she needs about 5 more before this game is over.
Double team comes from the baseline. Finger roll off the glass, comes off.
And again, I'm dumbfounded by the Mercury as Griner has 3 people on her, and they can't even get somebody in there for a rebound. Oh, look at that. Easy, looked like an easy drive for Jones to the basket.
She was trailed nicely, though, by Bree Turner, who helped force the miss. 80-75. Phoenix needing a bucket. Risky pass by Skylar over to Kia Nurse. Nurse into the lane. Floater from 10 feet drops. Much needed hoop for Kia and her team. Nurse 3 of 15 shooting. Cuts the lead to 3. Telling New York, willing to milk some of that clock, take their time, put it into the hands of the reliable Benijah Laney. Backing down Nurse, kick it out. Three-pointer comes up short by Gray, and Phoenix will have it with 2:12 to go.
That was a good defensive possession by the Mercury and forcing Gray to take that outside shot.
Both teams in the penalty rest of the way. Skylar using the Griner screen.
2 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. 2 minutes.
Inside of 2 minutes to go here in the fourth. Shot clock at 5. Skylar trying to weave through traffic. She's going to have to pump it up and in. The step through by Skylar, and it's a 1-point game.
Now, she didn't panic. She was looking to pass it, but she got that step through to go.
23 points for Diggins-Smith. Jasmine Jones has been the star in the fourth quarter for New York. Trying to cross over. Nurse bounces off of Kia. 5 on the shot clock for Gray. Deep 3 by Laney. Long rebound, tapped around by Turner. Out of bounds, and New York will have it. Oh, every possession, every rebound, so critical.
The Mercury worked so hard on the defensive end and did a nice job, but here we're going to see the replay with Skylar Diggins-Smith on that step through. And again, into a slump, and now they've won a couple. And Phoenix, they've been on the edge, and they've lost some close games. But, this is a league that's going to come down the stretch, which it always does. It'll come down to the last game of the day, but of the season. But you look at the Commissioner's Cup. Right now, it's looking pretty good for Connecticut and Seattle.
And it's hard sometimes to predict who's going to come out of that pack and join the Aces, Connecticut and Seattle, because you have such a long break with the Olympics.
Well, and the other thing is, who is going to be on the Olympic teams? We know Sandy Brondello has always selected her team with the Opals, but another offensive rebound by the Liberty and tough break for the Mercury. But, the USA team has not been selected yet, and there's probably about 20 players that could make that team this year.
Laney trying to create out to Jasmine Jones. She has been the hero in the second half for New York.
Yeah, Phoenix has just given too many defensive rebounds on their side up to the New York Liberty as far as being the out-hustling team and getting the rebounds to put it back in.
Jones has been the difference for New York. She was 1 of 7 shooting in the first half, had only 2 points. Annie in the second half, 5 of 6 from the floor, 14 points for New York.
Yeah, the last game against Indiana, she did not score. This is only the second game where she's gotten 20-plus points in, and Griner cannot knock the shot down as she is fouled, which stops the clock. But, yeah, Jones has struggled shooting-wise, but her high this season so far was 10 points. She's had a couple games where she's not scored at all, but now 16 points and 7 rebounds.
Yeah, for a player averaging 4 points per game coming in. That was a golden opportunity for Brittany Griner at a possible 3-point play. The shot came off and knocks down the first free throw, adding to her totals 28 points to go with her 14 rebounds.
A season high for her right now.
That's right, 3 different times she scored 27, now with 29. And it's a 2-point game. Inside of a minute to go, down the stretch we go at Phoenix Suns Arena. Mercury and Liberty. Now Laney pulling it back. Griner out there on the perimeter. Defensively on Laney. She has the quickness and the handles. Spinning. Drop step.
Oh,
and
what a
by
shot.
Laney. Spectacular move.
Great footwork by Benaja Laney.
Mercury, a 20-second timeout.
She was trying to figure out how to attack Griner. She pulled her outside of the three-point line and then took her into the paint and used that spin move in the drop step.
Well, we said in the second half that Breezy Turner has been guarding her, and so she got the switch that she wanted. She got Griner on her, and Griner not as fast footwork-wise, and once Laney got inside, boy, she was quick with the footwork and up and under, going to the left side.
She had struggled a bit here in the second half. She was fantastic in the first half with the 17 points. Has 6 here in the second half, but no bigger than those two. And really not bad defense by Brittany. She had that arm up, and Laney had to put a little extra air under that shot.
Good balanced scoring in the first half by the Liberty, and Sammy Whitcomb, who was all over the place and was quiet in the second half, but Jasmine Jones is the one that stepped up for the Liberty in the second half.
7 of 10 from the field in the first half for Laney. 2 of 8 in the second half. But when they needed her most, she comes through. Schuyler on the move. Contact and a ticket to the line for Schuyler. And most importantly for Phoenix, the clock stops with 31 seconds. Schuyler, 9 of 11 at the line so far this afternoon, working on her 23 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists.
Now this is where she's so effective. Is 1, she stops the clock, as you said. 2, it gets the opponent into foul trouble, and certainly you would have liked to have seen for Schuyler Diggins-Smith earlier in this second half for her to be able to get to the free throw line. She only had 1 free throw in that third quarter, and that was the technical.
Knocks down both free throws. The steely demeanor of Schuyler, making it a 2-point game. There's no doubting the strategy of New York. Put it in the hands of Laney. Ionescu out with the ankle tendonitis.
They got the switch again.
One-on-one against Griner. Shot clock at 3, down to 2. 3-point attempt. Won't go. And here comes Diggins-Smith. Final 4 seconds, down 2, loses it. And New York's going to win the game. Schuyler tried to drive in with 5 seconds on the clock, crossed midcourt and had it poked away and stolen by New York. Liberty win it in the end by 2, 85-83. I mean, that is Schuyler time. She has all the skill and ability to make that shot to possibly send it into overtime, but New York's defense was there to thwart Schuyler Diggins-Smith and the Mercury, who now have lost 3 in a row.
There were no timeouts left for the Mercury, and as you said, Schuyler Diggins-Smith's so good at the end of the game, and give credit to the Liberty. They came up with clutch plays.
We'll take a break. 85-83, New York with the win here in downtown Phoenix.
Gila River Hotels and Casinos. Grab your Gila River Hotels and Casinos custom Mercury fandom card for exclusive offers. And by Michelob Ultra. Enjoy like a pro.
2-point game, final seconds here from Phoenix Suns Arena. Phoenix did not have any timeouts. Schuyler Diggins-Smith took it the distance, tried to take it the distance before she had it poked away. Again, no turnovers, no timeouts left. And here comes Schuyler on the run, lost the dribble, and it was scooped up by Rebecca Allen.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on Schuyler Diggins-Smith, and it was an unfortunate turnover for the Mercury. But, you know, give credit to the Liberty. I mean, they never quit. I thought that they did a great job on the offensive end when they missed shots, and they got the offensive rebound and put themselves in a position to be able to score more points.
New York ends their 3-game skid. The Mercury now have dropped 3 in a row. And then you have Benijah Laney, 17 of her 23 points coming in the first half, but she had one of the biggest buckets down the stretch in the fourth.
Well, she was so good in that first half, and her and Sammy Whitcomb really made things happen. And Shook knocked down a couple threes, but Benijah Laney just showed every aspect of her game. Her dribbling ability, she had 10 assists in this game, and go inside, outside. And the fact that she hit that last shot against Brittany Griner, she got the pick and roll that she wanted, and got the big on her and knew that she could take her inside, and did a great job putting the basket in.
Another great effort by Griner in this one, finishing with 29 points, 14 rebounds. You can't ask much more of Brittany going through these games without Diana Taurasi and some of her shooters just not knocking down those threes as Phoenix goes 5 of 24 deep.
Yeah, she was 7 of 10 in that first half, and I was saying, okay, she needs to get the ball. Well, she only got it 6 times in the second half, and that hurt the Mercury. I think that they needed to go inside a little bit more to her. She knocked down a couple outside shots, which opened things up for her, but she was getting doubled and triple teamed all night long, and that's where the Mercury really have to take advantage of the other players. Somebody's got to cut to the basket, or those outside players have to knock down those outside shots.
And then you have the New York bench. Jasmine Jones was fantastic in that second half. She finished with 16 points, and Gray had 8 for the Mercury, only 5 points off the bench. It's off to L.A. for the Mercury. The next 3 games, they are 5 and 6. Liberty moved to 5 and 5 on the season. Always great to be with you, Annie.
We'll see you next time.
All right, thanks to our producer, Mark Goldberg, Ryan Bafalukas, Dave Heil, Brianna Jonellis, Garrett Savage, Jason and Carl, our engineers. Next telecast, Saturday, June 26th, Mercury hosting the Sparks, 7 p.m. right here on Bally Sports, Arizona.